everyone? It is Matty NASCAR here with another Chase for the Checkers episode. Today we are going to talk about my bets, my picks for Kansas. Super excited to get into it, but before we do, let's talk a little bit about Bristol. Now, if you follow me on any social media, and I hope you do, if you don't, please do. But you have seen me toot my own horn a little bit because I was on that Ty Gibbs train for him winning Bristol for like 2 months. I called my shot way back then. So we did get the Ty Gibbs winner, and we got a Carson Hocevar top 10. Real close to the Bubba Wallace top 10. He was 11th. He was in the top 10 like all day, but that final restart, he missed it by 1. But we will take it. We have another checkered flag. We're just racking them up at this point. And we had another top 10. I believe we have a streak going. I couldn't tell you how many of getting a winner and a top 10. I think, honestly, 6 or 7. I'm not doing it. I'm not that cool. Okay? But yeah. So that was our week at Bristol. But that was last week. We're in Kansas this week. We're back to the bread and butter of our NASCAR Cup Series, the 1.5 mile tracks. This track has been really, really good with this next gen car. It's got that famous Kyle Larson, Chris Buescher closest finish in history. Since then, it has went down a little bit, but those are pretty high expectations when you make have a history-making finish. But still a good race. These 1.5 mile tracks are usually pretty good with this car. So I'm hoping it's a good race. I'll also say it was kind of all over the place as far as what I liked and didn't like. There's definitely a big 3 presence there again. There is, I'm heavy on a certain manufacturer. And for top 10s, I'm pretty heavy on a certain team. But yeah, so this just feels like it's going to be a track, just to kind of put it out there, that, I mean, like Chase Elliott has been really good, right? And then he kind of, I don't want to say snuck a win last year, but he probably wasn't going to win if Denny Hamlin didn't get into his own car, Bubba Wallace. But, so it feels like something like that could happen. Like there's a guy who could, I don't want to say sneak out a win. We're jumping the gun. Let's start with some top 10s. We'll talk about winners later. Top 10 picks first. I've got a handful of them. Let's talk about Bubba Wallace. I have him at plus 120 on DraftKings. Bubba is in a 2311 car. 2311 has been super fast this year. They were really, really good at this track. At the beginning of this next-gen era, Bubba Wallace got his first, I guess you could say, legitimate win here because he won first at Talladega, but it was a rain-shortened race. But he did get his first full-length win, legitimate, whatever you want to say, win here at Kansas. Obviously, Kurt Busch in the 2311 car won here. Tyler Reddick's won here. Ty Gibbs ran really well here. So just they've had this track figured out for a while. Again, kind of slipped in the last couple seasons. But with as good as they are doing now, as good as Bubba Wallace has been, I am back on believing that they can put together a top 10 race. They've done it just about everywhere this season. So I would be surprised if they didn't do it here. But let me give you a little bit of stats to kind of back up what I'm saying. So it's not just, this is what I think. Stats don't lie. Now, again, before I jump into them, I've got tons of stats that I go over, from average finishes, driver ratings, speed rankings. I get all those because I follow Ryan at iFantasy Race. I'm trying to say it every single video because that's my guy. He, without his stuff that he puts out, it would be very hard to make some of these picks. So definitely recommend, if you like the stats, if you like all that information overload, if you're just kind of a nerd about it like I am, give him a follow. He's a great follow. But back to Bubba Wallace and his stats. He's got a 14.9 average finish, 11.5 speed ranking, and 11.8 driver rating. He also finished in the top 10 earlier this year at Kansas's sister track, Las Vegas. So this is the first race that we will go to that has basically a replica track that we have already been to. So like your Bristol and Martinsville, both short tracks, but also very different. Daytona and Atlanta are, restrictor plate, speedway races, but different. Las Vegas and Kansas, very similar. So there's a lot of looking at those results from earlier this year that goes into my picks as well. So, like I said, finishing the top 10 as well at Las Vegas. So at plus 120 is what I took him at. I think this is a really good value. With him wrecking twice before the break and having those DNFs, and then didn't get a top 10 last week, but was right there, was definitely a top 10 car. I think, as long as he can keep these races together, you're going to start seeing Bubba Wallace not, be closer to a plus 100 or, minus money, I think, for top 10 going forward, as long as they keep that speed going. I mean, Carson Hocevar is one who has kind of been in that area too, where he's just consistently in the top 10. And he opened up as minus money for a top 10 in some of the books, which really surprised me. So I think that'll be Bubba Wallace in the future because he's having a really good year. And I like him at plus 120 on DraftKings. But let's move along. I'm going to try to keep this video shorter. I don't like doing the half-hour videos. My next guy is Chris Buescher, also at plus 120 and also on DraftKings. Chris Buescher is a guy who he was part of that closest finish ever with Kyle Larson. He did fall short, unfortunately, but he's been really good here. He's been consistent. He's been up front, or at least in that top 10 area, that top 10 kind of performance for a driver. He's got a 15.3 average finish, 14.6 speed ranking, and an average driver rating of 14th. He's another one who did well at Vegas this year as well. He finished 6th. And RFK in general has just proven that they kind of have it figured out at these 1.5-mile tracks. Spoiler, this is the team I'm talking about when it comes to the team that I'm heavy on for top 10s. RFK has just been fast. They've kind of went under the radar because they're not like fast like the 2311 contending for wins fast, but they are in the top 10 consistently, at least one or two, if not all three of them. So I think that continues this week at Kansas with Chris Buescher, plus 120. Moving on to another guy. It pains me to take this one, I'm going to be completely honest. But it's Joey Logano at plus 210 on FanDuel. Not a Joey guy, but I'm a money guy, and at plus 210, I'm going to take it. Has he ran really well this year? No. Has he been the top Penske car? No. Has he done much to make me really feel good about this? No. But here's why. Again, plus 210 is very, it's what really caught my eye. But Joey has a 15.4 average finish, 15.3 speed ranking, and a 13.6 driver rating. He was outside of the top 10 at Vegas, which does, again, concern me a bit. But here's the thing with that 22 team. If anybody knows anything about this 22 car, about Joey Logano, it's that they have a knack for just grinding out top 10. So just figuring it out where at the end of the day, you're like, Joey Logano is top 10? How is he contending for a top 10? He's been like 16th, 17th all day. But that's just what they do. Now, have they done that as much this year? No. But it's kind of like the Hendrick cars who have had some struggles. Eventually they're going to figure it out. I think Joey Logano is in one of those boats too, where eventually they're going to put together a decent run. These 1.5-mile tracks he's been good at. So at plus 210, it just was a really good value for me. That's why I took it. I would not be mad if you didn't take it, because I understand Joey Logano is A, not everyone's favorite, but B, has not really proven it as of recent, and I do a lot of my stuff on recency bias as well. But I think it's just the fact that it's not a long shot, I don't think, for Joey Logano to get a top 10 here. But I want to move on to somebody who I am more confident in, and that is going back to one of those RFK guys, and that's the leader of RFK, Mr. Brad Keselowski at plus 240 on FanDuel. This is another one that surprised me that I could get him at those odds. He is, like I said, part of the RFK team, owner of the RFK team. They have been fast. They have been consistent in the top 10, at least one, if not more, of their cars. And he's been good at these 1.5 mile tracks. The only difference, pardon me, is Kansas has been kind of his Achilles heel. So his stats are pretty good at most other mile-and-a-half tracks. Kansas has been one that he has struggled at, and I think that's why the books have him at this number. But eventually you got to think a guy who's a veteran like him, who they've been running well this year, is going to figure it out. He's going to, put together a good finish. So I trust a veteran driver like Keselowski to be able to turn it around and to have the speed to get it done. At Las Vegas this year, he did finish 10th, showing that the speed is there for him at these tracks. I will go ahead and say I don't have Ryan Preece, but he's another one who is really close to making my list because he's been really good here. So take that for what you will. A little free pick for you. Again, I didn't take it. Was very close. I think it is a good pick, but I just have said before, I try not to have these massive cards. So, free pick. There you go. Any of the RFK guys, I think, are good value. Moving on to my last legitimate on the card pick, though. It's a redemption story for Mr. Zane Smith at plus 1,000 on FanDuel. They be sleeping on my boy Zane Smith. Here's why it's a redemption story. Last year, Kansas, I had him top 10. And he was running well. He was in the top 10. We were closing the laps down. He was going to get it. He was going to get it. And then the camera cut to Zane Smith. And he's on his side. And then he flipped down the track along with my top 10 pick, and I was devastated. But this year, he's going to have redemption. He's going to get a top 10 for us. Zane Smith, this is more than just vibes. This is more than just a redemption story. The stats are there. 15.3 speed ranking, 12th before his wreck last year. Is what he was ranked in speed. He was 16th place average driver rating. He finished 14th in Las Vegas earlier this season. So I expect that 38 car to be anywhere from like the 9th to 15th range. And he can do it. He absolutely can do it. He's very, very good on these 1.5 mile tracks. Just John Hunter Nemechek, stay the heck away from that 38 car. I'm coming after you, son. Okay? That's all I'll say about that. Redemption story, Zane Smith plus 1,000 on FanDuel. Great odds for a guy like that. But let's move on to winners. Let's talk winners. So, as I said, the winners here are going to be favorite heavy. So sorry. It's kind of a big three again, kind of like how I talked about with Bristol. Now, here's where I'm a little concerned. I said at Bristol, I would be surprised if one of these big three, or if all three of the big three had an off day, and they all did. What helped is I said, but if all three do have an off day, Ty Gibbs is next, and that's what happened. But it was pretty close to Ryan Blaney. And does it happen 2 weeks in a row? I don't think so, but we'll see. But let's jump into it. Denny Hamlin at plus 500 on DraftKings. No surprise here. Denny is really good at these racetracks. He's the favorite for a reason. He won at Las Vegas earlier this year, so obviously already has this type of track figured out this year, it seems like. He was close to winning last year, but like I said, he got into his own car, cost Bubba Wallace a potential win as well. Finished second. His overall finish here, average finish here, 7.5. That is second overall. His driver rating is fifth overall, is a fifth place driver rating, making him tied for first. And his speed ranking has him at first overall at 3.8. All that to be being said, Denny should absolutely be a player here when it comes down to it. I know they were kind of off last week, but I don't expect them to do that twice in a row. I expect those Toyotas to get off of the truck fast. So, going along with the Toyotas, I have his teammate Christopher Bell at plus 550 on DraftKings. Another one of the big three is what I'm saying. He is really good at these tracks as well. He's 1.5 miles. He's on the top of the stats for all of them. His last two races, he's finished in the top three. So, like I have said before with some other drivers who it ended up being good for us, when you see a driver who maybe doesn't have a win at a track, but he's finished in the top three the last couple races, eventually they're going to break through. So I think Seabell is one of those guys, even though he hasn't won at Kansas, he's been close, he's been fast, he's been a contender. Eventually he's going to break through, and it could absolutely be this week. He has an average finish of 8.8. That's third overall. He's second overall in speed ranking at 4.1, and tied with his teammate Denny Hamlin with the best average driver rating. And the other thing that kind of goes along with it is Denny Hamlin's already won. Ty Gibbs has won. You got to think Christopher Bell is hungry for a win. He doesn't want to be one of the JGR guys who doesn't have a win yet. So, Christopher Bell, Kansas, I think he can get it done. But let's move along to the last of the big three. No surprise here. It's Kyle Larson coming up on a whole year without a win, which is wild to me. I think that will kind of play into his that'll be heavy on his mind. I personally think just how much of a competitor he seems to be. I will say I don't know if it'll be a good thing or a bad thing. Sometimes things like that will drive you, and sometimes maybe it's in your head too much. And it kind of seems like Kyle Larson, ever since he ran the double, has been kind of in his head a little bit. But I also think Chevy has struggled with this new body and figuring it out. It's very apparent between Hendrick and the rest of the Chevy teams. But Kyle Larson is kind of the exception. Now, he hasn't won, obviously, but he has been the best out of the Chevy drivers. So Kyle Larson's skill level, I think, kind of puts you still in that you should look at him every week, even if they don't have it figured out over at the Chevy teams. But let's talk some stats as well. Best average finish is 6.3. He's got 2 wins in the last 4 races here. He's third in speed rankings, third in driver ratings, and this is pretty good odds. I don't think I told you yet. I'm sorry. I have him at plus 600 on Caesars. Third favorite on the books. That won't happen often. Right now he's not winning. Obviously, like I said, it's coming up on a year. But once he does win again, he's gonna win more. You got to think once he gets out of this funk, it's gonna happen again and again. And those plus 600 on a 1.5-mile track, those are gonna go bye-bye. You won't see those again. It's gonna start being, your 400s, your plus 340s, stuff like that. Those are good odds to take Kyle Larson at plus 600 on a track like this. You don't see that very often. Definitely take that. Now, these next two guys are guys that I'm surprised you can get them at these odds. So I hammered it. But I don't think they're like long shots by any means. So let's jump into the next guy. It's Tyler Reddick. 4-time winner this year, Tyler Reddick. A winner here at Kansas. Guy who's been fast all year. Our points leader. Like at top of the charts of the 1.5 mile tracks as far as speed rankings. And I got him at plus 1,000 on Caesars. Plus 1,000. Somebody at Caesars might end up getting fired for that. I mean, come on. Have we all forgot about in this short time between the short tracks and that week off who the heck Tyler Reddick is and what he's been doing this year? Come on. So, rant over. Sorry. Tyler Reddick plus 1,000. I can talk all day about the 2311 and the speed they have. I feel like I do it every week because I have to every week. They're a good pick every week, it seems like. This team hasn't lost their speed. They finished well at Bristol last week. That should be concerning for people because that was their Achilles heel, and they still managed to get a good finish, proving that they haven't missed a step in the short track 2 weeks and that off week. Finished 7th the last time that we were here at Kansas. He's got an average speed ranking of 10.3, a driver rating of 10.3 as well. Plus 1,000 for Tyler Reddick. Come on, you have to take that. Next guy. Who's your homie? Chase Briscoe at plus 1,100 on Caesars. Again, Caesars. Thank you, but also, what are we doing? But keep doing it. This is another guy that I cannot believe you can get at this price. Obviously, he hasn't won yet. They struggled at the beginning of the year. I understand all that. But he has finished 4th the last 2 races here. Going back to what I said about Christopher Bell, a guy who is going to be in that top 5 consistently is eventually going to punch through. He's going to break through. Chase Briscoe, again, like Christopher Bell, like I said, neither one of them wants to be the last JGR guy to be winless this year. So I'm sure that that's on his mind. I'm sure he's hungry to win. I'm sure he's hungry to win just in general. They're still fighting back from their points deficit from that tough start. But once they get it figured out, we saw it last year, they can start rolling. And this type of track, they were really, really good at. I'm going to talk to you about the stats for just the last 2 races here at Kansas because obviously before that, he was in the 14 car. And no offense to Stuart Haas, very different from the 19 team and JGR. So, just going to talk to you about the last 2 races. So, in the 19 team, in the 19 car, he had a 5th and a 12th place driver rating. His speed rankings in those 2 races were 15th and 4th. He had 2 4th place finishes, like I said earlier. So, he's got it pretty dialed in for this 19 team at Kansas and just at these tracks. I mean, another track that's similar to this is Vegas. Like I said, he finished 8th there, but that was one of those races that he had some trouble early on and he had to fight his way back. So it would be interesting to see if he qualifies well and is up front. Will he have that speed to just be up front and be a contender all day? I think he will be able to. I've got trust in my guy. Obviously, I'm biased. I am a Chase Briscoe fan. But I think plus 1,100 for him. This is a JGR car, by the way. And I understand Ty Gibbs won, and he's done really well. But it's not like he's the 4th place, like 4th best car in that stable. That's plus 1,100. That seems like it is also another steal. So, that's my final winner is Chase Briscoe plus 1,000. Overall, as you can tell, I'm pretty heavy on the Toyotas. Until Chevy can figure it out, I don't really trust the Chase Elliott's or the William Byrons. They could figure it out at any time and they could win, and I will take that chance. but I just haven't really seen anything outside of Kyle Larson, but it's because he's Kyle Larson. Sorry, making sure. I got stung on the last time I did a video. You didn't see it, obviously, but there's a wasp in here to try to take my life. But he didn't. I'm a survivor. Anyways, Toyotas I think are going to be really good. In the Ford camp, I don't trust anybody to be a winner in the Ford camp except for Ryan Blaney. It was very hard not to choose Ryan Blaney, to have him on this card. I think Ryan Blaney is going to be the one who eventually breaks my streak, because for whatever reason, as much as I actually do like Ryan Blaney, just as a fan of him as a driver, I have a hard time picking him for a lot of these tracks because he seems to be good everywhere, but hasn't won a lot of those. So Ryan Blaney is one who I trust him as far as the Ford, but not enough to take him. But that's really the only Ford guy that I would be worried about. So that's why I'm pretty heavy on Toyotas. Where I do lean on the Fords is those RFK guys. Again, I think there's a lot of good value there for them to have a top 10. I think they'll do good this year, or good this race. So those are my picks. Comment below. Please let me know what you think. If there's ones that you like, even if there's ones that you don't like, I'd like to know. If you have some other bets, I'd like to know those too, just for fun. Like I've said many times, a lot of why I started this is just so I can talk back and forth, grow kind of I don't want to say online relationship. That sounds weird, but you know what I mean. Just some back and forth between some NASCAR friends on social media. So comment below. Let me know what you guys think, what some of the bets are that you're taking, what you like. If you're not following on YouTube or TikTok or the Twitters, give those a follow. That would be greatly appreciated. But with all that being said, I'm trying to keep it under half an hour. Thanks for watching. I'm Matty NASCAR. Have a good rest of your week. Good luck chasing the checkers.